Okay. Namaste. We will start with our Shanti Mantra. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu. Sahanau Bhunaktu. Sahaviryam Karavavahe. Tejasvinavadhetamastu ma Vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, the last class we saw in the sequence of discussing how to free ourselves from the body, mind, and intellect. Basically, how to realize the truth of ourselves as the consciousness that is not affected by the body, mind, and intellect. That is not affected by being associated with the body, mind, and intellect. Being an individual, by living the consciousness of an individual, how to not be limited in knowledge, how to free ourselves from identification. That is the precise meaning of what we are discussing here. So there are two aspects to this. In our life as an individual, one, we can be an ignorant person. Another, we can be a jnani or a self-realized person. The difference between the self-realized person and the ignorant person need not be in the consciousness. So there are two things we need to see. One is the field of consciousness, the field of experience. Both the enlightened person and also the normal person, the usual ignorant person, the Jivan Mukta, the liberated one, and the bound one, the bound ignorant person, Ajnani. Both can have, both their body, mind, intellect can go through the, maybe not the intellect, both the body and mind can go through the same experience. Both of them are traveling in the train. Same experience. But what differs with respect to the jnani is the self-definition or identification with the two kinds of feeling ourselves as an individual. This we can experience, we can identify as a normal person, without any extraordinary experience. Even as a normal person, we can appreciate this fact that we experience every day. It is very normal for us, all of us, but we may not have recognized it. So we can try to give importance to this aspect. See, the experience of an individuality on two levels. One is, like when you say, where am I? I'm here. When you say I, we generally point out to the body, right? So, me, I. I'm talking about me, we say, right? So, this feeling of the self, the experience of the self with respect to body and the mind as a locus, with respect to this body as a locus. So I am experiencing myself in the context of this body and in the context of this mind and intellect. BMI, that's what we are talking about. I am experiencing myself in the context of this body, the context of this mind and intellect. That is why I don't feel another person as myself. See, another person is telling me, I am telling me. Another person says I. So their I is centered in their body, My eye is centered in my body. Your eye is centered in your body, and my eye is centered in my body. Right? This is the experience. So this is sahaja. This is a natural. So this natural individuality, it is by birth and by karma, by association, because by the result of past actions, through impressions and everything, it is inborn and innate, natural. Let us use one word, natural. Now, on top of this, we create a kind of individuality that is consciously assumed. Consciously assumed in the sense, for example, with respect to what I possess. Let us say I have a lot. So I say I'm a rich man. I have a lot of properties. Rich man. So I say I am rich. This is assumed. I am handsome. I am beautiful. I am intelligent. I am very dharmic. All these are consciously assumed based on my knowledge of the qualities of this body and the mind and the intellect and the different things this body, mind, intellect is associated with. This body, mind, intellect has its own qualities and it is associated with different things. I and mind, right? So there is a conscious assumption of my sense of individuality, personality, to say, based on these qualities. Now that is conscious. That I live in the waking state, that sometimes might alter to some extent the dream state. I may see myself as differently in the dream state. So this is based on my habitual ways of thinking and the generated and the self concepts that I have generated and sustained, the different views that I have about myself. Right? So this is nurtured by the intellect over a period of time as I go through the experiences in my life. Just 1 second. A small technical issue. Is it in the main speaker mode? The view?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mine comes in the bottom. Gallery view. Speaker is in yours. You have to change it to mine. I put it in speaker view. It is in. It's not in the speaker is not on me. Speaker is on PSW, the school of PSAW.
So for us, it is in a speaker view only. So you are visible on the main screen.
See, if I put gallery view, the square, the green square is on PSAW.
Okay, sir.
You have to go and see gallery view or a speaker view on the right side. It will come in a different way. It will not come. Mine will not.
Yes, sir. For us, it is in a speaker view only.
Yeah, in the speaker view, but you are in the center, right? I am in the bottom left.
No, you are in the center for us.
Interesting. It's completely different. Okay. You will know in the recording. So, when we are trying to work with loosening the grip of the ego, like how we discussed in the last class, we were talking about bringing more Ishvara, being more tuned to Ishvara, being more tuned to the objective reality, And the point of the whole sadhana is to loosen the grip of the ego, the point of following dharma. And for example, the ends do not justify the means. All that we discussed in the last class. And the purpose of ethical living or religious living or upasana or bhakti, the whole thing is about loosening the grip of the ego. I said the more active the egoistic personality is, especially with attachment to different outcomes, whatever we do, different actions we do, there are results. So the more we are attached to the results of our action, the more impossible it becomes for our buddhi to be available for self-inquiry. So that is the central point. So this is why in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was advised to go through the process of the result, but with devotion to the Swadharma and surrendering the results of action to Ishvara, doing what needs to be done. And the whole teaching goes on, we will discuss that. So unless he goes through that, he will not be free from the I and mind that creates shoka and moha. Shoka is sorrow, struggle, moha is attachment. So to become free from that, all that is centered around this assumed I. So we talked about the natural I, the individual consciousness, and there is this individuality in terms of conscious identifications. Now, these conscious identifications we do based on our innate tendencies. One person has a natural attraction. So you ask a child, what do you want to be when you grow up? So the child will say, okay, it sees the father or something. Or doesn't see anything. And it naturally show attraction to her. And he said, I want to be strong. He said, I want to be smart. Or it will say, I want to be a king. You know, I want everybody to obey what I say. One child in my family when I was a kid. Everybody asked, what do you want to become? The fellow said, I want to become a lorry driver. It's such a unique answer. Nobody says that. So we are wondering why he wants to become a lorry driver, because he says, then I have the biggest vehicle and everybody in the road is scared of me. So he is attracted to that, right? So I want to be something, I am something, I enjoy being something, I don't enjoy, I regret being something. So all these are based on my samskara. My samskara are my innate tendencies regarding what I subconsciously value, what my buddhi values subconsciously. So whatever I value subconsciously, to that I am attracted, and I want to be someone in relation to what I really value. If I value wealth, I want to be rich. If I value knowledge, I want to be a knowledgeable. I want to be a scholar or a man. If I value power, probably I want to be a very social leader or something. So depending on what I value, I try to associate myself with situations and objects and develop the corresponding qualities in my mind and probably in my body. So if I want to be very strong, I want to have these six packs, big biceps and shoulders and all that. Or I want to be tall. So you have these youngsters working day in and day out in the gym. So depending on what I value, I associate with that, then I am devoted to all the actions that are connected with how I want to become. So this is how I nurture my conscious personality. Nothing wrong in that. But what I'm trying to tell is, when we are talking about loosening the grip of the ego, first we are talking about beginning to work with this assumed individuality. All this whole circuit of assumed individuality in us, we are starting to work with that. The whole I and mind that we consciously entertain and feel and relate to as myself, right? So what I actively engage with around this idea of me as an individual in my intellect, in my conscious mind, what I actively engage with. So that is what we are working with. So that is what we need to understand and analyze, and whose reality we need to meditate upon. The vichara is directed towards that. So now, when this network, this attachment to all the I and mind that we nurture and feel and nurture consciously, the I and mind that we feel and nurture consciously, that is what we are dismantling cognitively, because we need to play our roles and all that is there. The life goes on. That is not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the self-definition coming from that. So this is what we are working with. We are not working with the natural consciousness of being in the body or feeling my presence, me experiencing my sense of self in the body or in the mind, in the context of thoughts or in the context of conscious effort or in the context of happiness and sad and the different experiences. Me experiencing my sense of self in these contexts. This is not what we are trying to alter. It's extremely important, because if you go into the process of yoga and the tantra, this is where Vedanta, this is where the approach of Vedanta and self-knowledge is so unique. It attacks the root of the problem and does not waste time in trying to arrive at results that are temporary and results that are pointless for liberation. The reason is why this insight is extremely important, because we are not working with the natural individuality. We are working with the assumed individuality. We are working with the attachments and the aversions that are associated with the assumed conscious individuality that we nurture with our thought and emotions, that we nurture with our actions, that we nurture with our conscious attitudes. So this is what the whole inquiry, a whole process of Ishvara Pranidhana, the yoga and the Viveka, the Buddhi yoga and the self-inquiry, Drisya Viveka, they say, all that works around this. Yeah. So we are working with this. We are arriving at the freedom that we experience with respect to this assumed personality, not with respect to the natural individuality, the feeling of being an individual in consciousness. That is not we are working with, that is not we are challenging, we are not trying to alter that. Why this is important? Because when we read these mystical yoga books, some, in one like autobiography of Yogi, for example, in that there is a mention of of where he says about the Kundalini experience, where he goes into a kind of, he says, God consciousness or cosmic consciousness, where his consciousness expands and he was able to feel everything in the entire street, next street, what is happening 2 streets away. So he felt that whole thing expanding, consciousness expanding, and then he came back to the body. Like that one description is there. Similarly, we find, I was the universe, I was the sun, I was in the man, I was in the animal, I was in the plants, I was the sap inside the tree, all that, romantic things. So these are all experiences of altered consciousness, which a lot of lazy youngsters who don't want to go through the difficult process of Kundalini and all that, they want to replicate this kind of similar kind of experiences using things like ayahuasca, DMT, LSD, psilocybin, and marijuana, and all these things. So they try to alter the consciousness with herbs and drugs. Some all try to alter the consciousness with pranayama, Kundalini. So all this consciousness altering, experiencing an altered state of consciousness, that is a huge industry. And that is so appealing because our everyday life is so drab, it's so boring and plain and it's so monotonous. We want some sensation, right? So all of us are looking for sensations, especially when we are stuck in a routine. We're always looking for some elevating experience, nice experiences, some unique sensations. So this is a problem. So this is what is exactly the problem that is plaguing the spiritual industry right now, because everybody is attempting altered states of consciousness. An altered state of consciousness is prakriti vikaram. That is, you are changing the way the brain state, you are changing the way the prana works. Basically, you are changing the instrument of experience. It is like I am normally seeing now. So, for example, if I put a colored some filter in front of my glass, then based on the color filter, I will experience all your faces in the screen in a different way. The room I will see in a different way. Put a red color paper, you will see different colors, right? So it's in the same way, if I am going to use a binocular, I'm going to see a very far away aeroplane as though it is coming very near me, right? So in a 3D movie, if I'm wearing the goggles, I'm going to see a 3D picture, right? So the instrument of experience alters the quality of experience. So the quality of an experience, the field of consciousness that I experience, the content of the consciousness that I experience depends on the prakriti, depends on the brain state, depends on the centering of the prana, depends on all that. Depending on that, the mind, the sattva, the mind will operate in a certain dimension, or it will operate in a certain zone. It will operate for some time, and after that it will come down. Once the momentum that I am giving, the fuel that I am giving for that is over, it's going to come back based on my prarabdha karma. It is going to come back to my body. Now, altering this field of experience through kundalini or whatever is not going to give liberation, and it is not required for liberation. This is very, very important, because when we understand what exactly I need to work for, what I need to work with, in order to become free of ignorance, the avidya, that is the cause of samsara, the ignorance that makes me go through the cycle of birth and death again and again, the ignorance that makes me bound to a body, mind, and intellect, and makes me feel like an individual and participate in the whole drama of samsara, that avidya will not get solved by altering the states of consciousness. A unique experience, an altered experience, will not give me liberation. This I will become very clear, but then I will not, once I am clear about this, I am not going to waste my time going behind some special mind states, prana states, and body states. I am not going to go behind kundalini and all that, because all these mystic experiences, however wonderful they are, I am not dismissing them, I am not telling they are bad. They are nice, beautiful experiences. I like to have a nice cup of coffee. So similarly, it is all right to have some kundalini experience. It's a nice experience, like having a cup of coffee. So, it's not so simple. You may say simply because investment is very high. You will have to sit and practice for days and months and years together in order to have a kundalini experience. Or you will have to go travel to Amsterdam to have some drug experience. Right? So, because of the complexity involved in these kundalini experiences, and sometimes you come back with some extra skill set. You can do more mess. You can mess around with others' thoughts, others' energies. You can mess around with some, what do you call the side siddhis, minor siddhis or major siddhis, whatever. So these are basically skill sets. They are skill sets of the body and the mind and the subtle body. I have a subtle body. If I do some specific practices, probably I can read somebody's thoughts. A upasaka can tune to the deity, invoke the deity's consciousness in his mind, and ask, get intuitive answers for his questions. They say, when they ask the Srinivasa Ramanujan, the mathematician, how you are able to arrive at answers for very complex numerical problems instantly, he says, the goddess of that, there is a goddess in a temple, local temple in the place where he grew up, he says that goddess comes and tells me. Right? So he used to say that. And then the goddess comes and writes those solutions in my tongue, or she comes and reveals it in my dream, like that he says. So these altered states of consciousness and this mystic experience may have some use. I'm not telling no. But that is not liberation. That is what we need to understand. And we don't need that for liberation. So what I would say simply is get rid of your ignorance, and then if it is still important, they will come by themselves. Like you may not feel a personal need, at least one is not going behind a new track of samsara. As it is, we already have enough samsara. Somebody asked me, is your third eye open? I said, I already have two eyes and I have enough trouble with two eyes. Why should I open a third eye to have more trouble? Just to convey a point. So third eye opening, it has its own advantages. I'm not denying that. So this understanding, this natural individuality versus assumed individuality or personality, which nourishes that sense of I and mine consciously, which keeps me very active. So when I analyze that, then I start analyzing the world of I and mine. So what are all affecting me positively? What are all affecting me negatively? My likes and dislikes. Then my result orientedness. So when I see that, how did I assume that? For example, we did one small inquiry a couple of classes back. Somebody has given you a name. So when somebody tells a name, you feel I. Right? You say Yogeshvar. I say, oh, Yogeshvar, yes, you're calling me. Say I. Now this is functional. This need not be eliminated as a function. But is there a me? Am I able to free myself from this Yogeshvar? Do I have a choice with respect to this? My name is Yogeshvar. In the sense, can I experience a suspension of this? I did like a small exercise, like a meditative exercise, where we went back. It is enough to understand it's only my name, I am not the name. It's enough to understand that. But some meditations help, it reinforces the understanding. So these meditation and different concentrations, different contemplative techniques, they are there in Upanishads also. They are all useful in order to what you call as improve the Nishta in knowledge. In the sense, these all will help us to reinforce knowledge. So the technique that we did is just, right, you go back in time, there is a point, okay, my name is so and so, say, whenever somebody calls you the name, that sense of I comes up. And see how the sense of I is connected with the name. There is an association to feel that. And to go back in time to a point that, before the naming ceremony, the 9th day or the 8th day of your birth, you are not given the name yet. Think about that moment when you don't have a name yet. So you have lived in the womb also, they call that regression and all that. So you go to the, just psychologically, in your imagination, mentally go back in time. I don't have a name yet. But still you experience yourself. One by one, all the identities, what are the things that you possess in this body is now this big, this old. It was smaller a few decades back. It was growing up. Then some time back, it was a baby. Right? So the qualities were different. The feeling was different. The world was experienced differently. All this is changing, but I am the common factor across all this. Then I go back in time to the point where I am not even given a name. See, there you can experience yourself in complete innocence, the pure I am, without any of the adjuncts, without any of the labels. So if I am able to stay in that for some time, you can experience a certain kind of a sense of relief with respect to how much grip all these labels has on you. You can that is a sense of relief, the freedom that you experience there, the separation in consciousness you experience, where you have suspended all the labels. You are not actively engaging your ego with respect to all the labels that you have put on yourself. You are just experiencing the moment of relaxation, like freedom. It's something like I'm having this in my hand all the time, tight, right? And then I come home and somebody told me that people are snatching away my phones, the phones in the market. There are people coming and snatching away the phones. I saw some YouTube videos, so now I'm very anxious. So I'm holding on to my, this is not iPhone, I'm just telling you, you just got an iPhone 15 Pro, whatever, it's very expensive. And then you're holding on to it, or an S24, whatever, Galaxy Flip, holding on to it very anxiously so that it is not lost. Or you're having some 5 sovereign gold chain and you are going in a Dasara. So you are holding, making sure that you're covering up and all that, making sure nobody chain snatches, right? Then you come home and then you let go of it. So like that, in Sukshma Sarira, in our subtle body, which is nothing but subtle body sound very mystical. Subtle body means your mind. So basically the mind, in the mind, I'm holding on to so many things. I'm holding on to the things that I want to get rid of, fears. I'm holding on to the things that I want to attain, I want to keep, I want to protect, things that I like. Right? So all this is there, and it is habituated in the background. It's a lot. So what I do is, instead of practicing concentration, whatever comes up in the mind, whatever, any thought, any memory, don't try to get rid of that, but examine how you are relating to that. Examine how I am related to that. Examine how it is affecting you. What is the connection between you and that? Right? Let us say I am very fond of my motorbike. Now, there is the experience of riding the motorbike, which is nice. You go through a canyon and all, that is fantastic. Now, this is, then I can sit and look at the motorbike. There are people who keep the motorbike in the bed. I've seen some videos. Oh, it's just my bike. I sit and think about it. Attachment, right? So now this is an active process. So when I think about my bike, motorbike, now is there any attachment? How does it feel? How am I connected? You don't have to change anything. So in the mind, you're just sitting and you suddenly remember some relative, some person, some friend, somebody. See how you feel about the person, how the person is affecting you, what is your connection. So that is your involvement there, right? Similarly, different things that are very dear to you, you can probably choose a biggest attachment or the biggest aversion. When you do that, you have a strong vasana. You have a strong vasana coming up. So there is a strong habituation coming up. So that is the intense experience of ego. So when that comes, you naturally get some kind of concentration. It's more visible. So since it is more intense in the mind, it is easy to process that. Whatever comes naturally with respect to that is all right. You don't have to alter it. You have to just become aware of your connection to that. How I am connected to that. Just become aware. Don't tell it is right, it is wrong, nothing. And then, as you become aware of that, there would have been a point in time when you did not know this object or this person. There would have been a point in time where you would have not come in contact with the person or object. So you still don't have a relationship with that, the object of thought, or a situation, or a person, or an object, right? You don't have a relationship with that yet. Feel yourself in that time. And then as you interact with that, the sense of individuality with relation to that object or person or situation is nourished. It starts forming, right? So stop there and just see how you are free from that, how it is only a label and you are not this person, right? I am not the son of so and so. I am not the father of so and so. I am not the husband and wife of so and so. I am not the boss or employee of such and such company. I am not the friend or the lover or partner of such and such person. Like, so all these came, all these will hang on for some time, all these will go. Just can you see that separation from that and see if you can completely drop it and experience your sense of self without any of this. Similarly, when you are very anxious about the result, it's all right. Don't try to dismiss that result like that story of the fox where it said, "Chi chi, these grapes are sour." So don't blame the world. You don't have to devalue the world. I am talking about a higher level of inquiry where you are not devaluing whatever is out there, but you are examining your relationship with that. I like it, I want it. Or I don't like it, I don't want it, whatever you say. Now, try to see where this connection, where the value, positive or the negative value of this object in you arises, where is the connection? How I am superimposing that. When you just watch that, and remember, you are beyond this. Just you have to remember that. That's all. You are beyond this because you existed before this object came. You came to know this object. You are going to exist after you attain that. You are going after this object disappears or the situation disappears from your life. You continue to exist. Right? Just remember this. You exist beyond this situation, beyond this object, beyond this achievement, beyond this goal. You existed before, you will exist after. This is coming and going. You just have to realize that and try to feel yourself outside this circuit of you as that particular seeker. I am the seeker of such and such thing. I am the one who the desirer, right? Feel yourself beyond the desirer and just look at the desire. You are bigger than this desirer. This desiring you arises and falls in you like a wave in a surface of water. If you go to the beach, the wave arises and falls. The ocean exists. Similarly, you exist. This desire arises. It is invoking a lot of participation. It is invoking a lot of interest, passion, and all that. You see that the desire may be satisfied, may not be satisfied, and it's going to get over. And after that, you're going to continue. Just realize the larger you, which is who is outside of this desire, who is beyond or who is outside the scope of this desire drama, right? You who is bigger than this desire drama, this desiring person arises and falls in you, but you are bigger than this desiring person. You just understand that, remember that, and let the desiring you be. Don't fight with it, just stay there. And you will see that when you are just objective enough about it, you will start becoming more and more objective about it. It will stop having a grip on you. It will not drag you anymore. That will be a first sign is it will not drag you anymore. It's like a freedom, it's like a relaxation. So you have a complete choice there. You can satisfy the desire or not satisfy the desire. It doesn't matter. Just let go. You can practice this. So this is seeing the larger you who is beyond this desiring person. And in the context of that, letting the desiring person be and simply observing the desiring you. Rising, getting agitated, nothing is happening, and going down. After this process is over, then you can consciously decide whether to pursue that or not. So if it is relevant, meaningful, please pursue. If it is not relevant, not meaningful, then you decide how much to pursue or not to pursue. It's not going to be a problem anymore. So this is a practice that is not what is called as, it's not altering the consciousness, but awakening a kind of viveka. It awakens a certain kind of loosening of it facilitates a certain loosening of the grip of this vasana driven you. So the the individual, the assumed individual who is struggling with the desire situation, that individuality loses its grip. When individuality loses its grip, I become very objective about a certain aspect of me. So I am not totally caught up in that. So then I am able to dismantle it piece by piece and see that this is not me. When I am able to de-identify, that is the point. The key point is I am able to de-identify from the desiring me. I am able to de-identify from the fearing me. Now, if this is too much for you, if the desire is too strong, the fear is too strong, and you have good shraddha, in the sense of you have good bhakti, you have good shraddha in your Ishtadevata, etc. Think of your Ishtadevata, mentally say, I am surrendering this to you. I am surrendering this desire and the satisfaction that might come out of satisfying this desire, my possession of the object of desire, everything I surrender to you. Just surrender and let go. The desire, it is the desire, you say, the Lord, you are the desire. You are the object of the desire. You are the process of desiring. And you are the satisfaction or dissatisfaction. All that is you. So when you see the whole circuit, you resolve it in the vision of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita also it comes. It says, among all the living beings, among the men, among the people, I am the desire that is born of dharma. I am the desire that is born of dharma. I am the dharmic desire, the Lord says. So, especially if it is a dharmic desire, you can say this is you. Very easy. This is you. Very legitimate ambition. You say, Lord, you are this desire, you are the satisfaction of the desire, the object is you, everything is you, like they say, Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavi, like that, right? So you just say that, and immediately you will see that individuality losing its grip. You are not there, and you are not part of the circuit anymore. When all the thing within the desiring circuit is the Lord, the witnessing tendency awakens, the ability to remain a witness, the rushing individual slows down, the individual is not rushing anymore, and then the grip the situation has on your experience of individuality loosens up, and the witnessing attitude arises, the Sakshi Bhava arises. And then you can see yourself as beyond the deciding person. So that gets facilitated. The Viveka arises automatically. Right? So that is, if you are not able to work only with awareness, you can do the surrender. And you can, if you have bhakti, it is very easy. Especially when the force of the desire is very strong, it is very easy to go in front of the altar and do a namaskara and say, I am offering this to you. Like how you would offer a flower or a fruit. Just, or even do symbolically. You take one lemon or something in your hand, or a flower or something in your hand, and they say, or write the desire, whatever you want right now. You are rushing towards, you are crazy for it. Write it down. I want this object. You say, or I am enjoying this, whatever desire. You say, you take it. Now I am leaving the whole thing to you, Lord. This is yours. This belongs to you. This is my most favorite, and I am offering it to you. Right? You are just offer that paper at the altar and do a namaskaram and say, I am surrendering this situation. I am surrendering completely. This entire desire and its consequences and everything, I surrender to you completely. And then just sit quietly and feel, just stay in that sense of surrender. Then suddenly you will see how the grip that desire has on our individuality kind of loosens up, and a different level of relaxation and freedom arises. A kind of a separation arises between you and this whole restlessness that is inside from your heart. Right? It comes as a kind of a freedom arises. It's kind of loose. It's not pushing you anymore. You can feel it, right? So these kind of practices, what happens is when we do that, the assumed individuality kind of loosens up. What I called as the likes and dislikes and the grip it has. I even quoted the Yoga Sutra in the last class. Samadhir Bhavanartha Kesha Tanukaranarthascha. This is Kriya Yoga, where the concept of Ishvara Pranidhana comes. That's what we discussed right now. Offering at the feet of the Lord is basically seeing everything as the Lord. All that I want, my body, my mind, all included, when I see everything as the Lord, when I see the Lord's omnipresence, there is no individual struggle anymore. There is no holding on to things and desiring and fearing. So the contrast that keeps on coming in the mind, that agitation, it will calm down, that is samadhi. And the loosening of the grip, when the situation loses its grip on you, that is raga dvesha. The likes and dislikes, they kind of become easy to handle. They kind of become very mild. Tanu karana means it becomes very mild, it's easy. Then it's very easy to work with that. So mind becomes very easy and flexible and easy to work with. The mind becomes very tangible and easy to work with when we do this practice called Ishvara Pranidhana, where is one of the excellent practices to start learning to work with this assumed individuality. So this is, in this context, the main thing is to redefine in Ishvara Pranidhana. What we do is to redefine what is success and what is failure. Because nowadays, in a very result-oriented world, you have these movies about alpha male and all that. Then there is even a coaching company called Alpha. They help everybody to be alpha. This concept from the roots. But we are not roots, but it's okay. It may be useful for material success. But the point is, when we as a yogi, as a person desiring freedom from body, mind, intellect, identification, a person desiring freedom from samsara, a person who wants moksha, freedom, eternal peace and happiness, for this person, it is very important to redefine. If you really want lasting happiness and lasting peace, if you really want freedom from birth and the cycle of birth and death, and experience your true nature, which is already infinite. When you are already infinite, you are going behind some illusory, pointless, meaningless goals that are absolutely nothing in front of what you already are. So what you are originally, what you are actually becomes more important. What you are in the real true self becomes more important than any other goal in this universe, right? So for such a person, it is very important first step to completely redefine what is success and what is failure. If a situation, an event that is normally considered as failure according to the worldly definition, basically I'm trying to get something, I'm not able to get that, so it's a failure. Once it has happened, if I have learned in the process, and if I am using that context of failure to practice detachment, discrimination, and surrender, it is contributing in my journey towards wisdom. It is contributing in my journey towards self-realization. Then that effort and the result of that effort, that event is success. Now, if I have achieved a success, a normally considered success, a promotion, or a good mark, exam time, so if I'm a topper, if I'm completely defining myself based on that success and feeling all elated and everything, nothing wrong in being happy, but being totally caught up in that success, defining myself and as letting that success grow on me, right? Then that entire effort and the result of that effort and that success is, spiritually speaking, a failure. So I am becoming a bhogi because of letting that success grow on me and take over my individuality and alter my self-definition, and I start carrying an air after that. It is actually spiritually a failure. So if I am to become free, the first thing I need to do is redefine success and failure in terms of, is my choice over the effort, how free I am from the compulsion of the result, right? This is the first step. Choice over action. Karmasu kaushalam. That is choice over action. Am I able to choose the right means to the end? Dharmic means to the end, with absolute detachment to the result. This is the result. To achieve that result, these are all the dharmic ways that are available. There are other ways of doing it, adharmic ways of doing it. I understand that as adharma. If I do that, I know and I will feel that I have done something unethical, even though I might have gotten the result, like hook or crook. So this is all hook and crook, adharma. But it is also possible to achieve this result in the right way. Whether I follow dharma or I follow adharma, there is no assurance that I am going to win or I am going to get the result. I might gain the result in the dharmic way. I may lose the result in the dharmic way. I may gain the result in the adharmic way. I may lose the result in the adharmic way. Both cases, there is uncertainty about the result. The result is going to come according to my prarabdha. So, I am going to be detached about the result. The result is in the hands of Ishvara, Lord, the hands of the universe. I am going to get the result that I karmically deserve. So, I am going to concentrate on being dispassionate about the result and being devoted to the dharma in the choice over the right course of action that is meant for that result. I will not compromise on the righteousness of the means, and I'm going to stay on that, but not be driven. I don't want the result alone to be my motivation. The result makes me choose the course of action, but my reason for choosing this action is because this is the best dharmic option available. This course of action nourishes my soul. While there are other options and shortcuts that may be available, this is the right way to do. And I will be free to make the righteous choice over the right course of action only if I am not anxious about the result. This is first. Next. During the process, I am not anxious about the result. I am able to concentrate on the process because I am detached about the result. And I am using the process to watch myself, to understand myself better. I am using the process of being involved in that karma as a mirror of understanding myself. So I am using that karma to awaken my viveka. Then at the time of the result, I understand that I am not the owner of this result. This result came as a blessing from the universe. It is not just by my actions alone. There are so many variables that are needed to achieve this. So I will not let this result get to my head. I will not define myself based on this result. To work for this result was the requirement at the time. It was my dharma to do it, so I did it. The result belongs to the Lord. Equanimity towards the result. Equanimity towards the result, let me choose the right course of action. Equanimity towards the result, let me concentrate on the process. Equanimity towards the result makes me take success and whatever is the expected result or unexpected result or unwanted result, everything in with equanimity, with a sameness of mind, with evenness of temperament. Now that would be a successful action, no matter the outside doubt, the external outcome, no matter what is the external outcome, that is going to be successful action. That is redefining success. If I am messing up, if I am letting the result get to my head, even though I am getting the result, I am a failure. So I redefine success in a spiritual way as an action that contributes to my freedom from compulsion to action. An action, an attitude in action that contributes how much I am able to sustain the yogic attitude in action defines how successful I am as a doer in a situation. So me, the one who is striving, one who is active, Am I a successful person? Yes, if I am able to maintain the yogic attitude in action. If I am losing the yogic attitude and getting sucked into the situation and letting the situation define my individuality, then that is a failure. If I redefine success and failure like this, that would be a fantastic first step in our journey towards awakening the viveka that will free us eventually from the clutches of the body, mind, and intellect that makes us feel as limited and keeps us stuck in samsara. So this is the main starting point, and we will explore other subtle points. One consequence, one extrapolation from this is career choice, making a career choice. All that we will discuss in the coming days. So with this, I will finish the class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. Thank you. Any questions? Please watch the previous class also. It might help. And I see a lot of people watch YouTube. So if you're watching in the YouTube and if you see that this is useful, just remember to put a like. It may be useful for the School of Ancient Wisdom to get more views and subscribers and things like this. Yeah? Please take care of that. I did not mention it all this time, but I see that if you don't mention, it seems that people don't remember. So unfortunately, I have to mention that. So see what you can do. Any questions? Okay. We'll close it.